Hi. So, welcome. This is a good start. I did get asked this morning. First thing I got asked by somebody, totally unrelated to this, but about in-ear monitoring, and I thought, well, what am I going to start with? I'm going to start with basics, how to roll the cable up, which we will be doing. Believe it or not, it's a lesson that people need to learn, especially in some of my bands. No names mentioned, but yeah. So I'm going to start pretty much with in-ear monitoring, especially for drummers. But I mean, if you're on a budget, this can apply to people who play guitar as well, and singers possibly. If you're not moving much, I've got the answer for you, and it's this thing. It's called a Beringer P1. It's a wired, basically monitor amplifier, and the way it works is you've got your auxiliary outs from your mixing desk, be that digital or analog, and you can send, see there, to the two XLR things. You can do two XLRs if you want a stereo, but you can use just one XLR to send it, and you get a nice mono signal. You've got a little button there, mono or stereo, which is very good. And from then, you plug in your headphones or your in-ear monitor headphones. We'll get into that in a minute. Into the top there. It takes a 9-volt battery, or you can pay extra for the power supply if you're not moving anywhere. If you play guitar, I should imagine you want a 9-volt battery, but if you think you can have power everywhere you go, if you're a person who sits down through a gig like me or a keyboard player, then pretty much we're looking at that. And it's a very simple system, very good. It does come with a little trouser clip thing. But unfortunately I haven't got that on the moment. What's really good is this thing. This is on the Beringer one. I'll show you my other one in a minute. This means that you can basically put it on a mic stand. Or, if you are a drummer, you can get one of these. This is from Gibraltar. They've got a few different sizes, but what it means is you can put this on a cymbal stand, and literally just screws onto it. Like that, all the way around, and then you've got it mounted, so it can be pretty close to you. You can reach it to reach the volume buttons. You can see the buttons on the top there. Got to get used to pointing things at cameras. Oh, upside down. This is great. It's volume and balance, and that's what you've got. So you get stereo, mono, volume and balance. Really great bit of kit, and also you get really good sound quality from it because it's wired. You're pretty much getting a really good signal every time, so you won't get any sort of whooshing and swooshing from any interference that you get on a non-wired thing. Don't worry, kids, we are doing non-wired at another time, but that's pretty much the Beringer thing. The one I use at the moment, because this is my old one, and this I keep for spare, and it's usually to lend to someone whose system's gone down just in case. This is my new one. This is by Fischer amps. So don't worry, I'm not getting paid by these people, by the way. I promise you. Well, one day maybe. But this is what I use. I prefer this one, although it hasn't got the microphone stand on the Fischer amps one. Fischer amps one exactly the same, pretty much. I mean, to look at it, it's very difficult to tell which one's which. You have got a double take. They do take DC power, 9-volt DC power as well, both of them. You've got to buy it separately though, which I have, because I like to have it plugged in. I can't be bothered changing batteries every 2 minutes. So, but it's they do the battery lasts a good few gigs. It lasts about 3 gigs. I have done it on battery when I first got it because I had to wait for the thing clip. Now, so that's what I use. Those that haven't used in-ear monitoring, it's a good start. These things, this thing is about 50 quid. I mean, the Fischer one's more expensive, but this is 50 quid. There's nothing wrong with it really. The only reason I got the Fischer one is because I basically wanted one that was a bit more gig ready. You could feel the weight, it was a bit better quality, and I knew I wanted one that lasted forever. But I've always got a spare, and it's a good backup even if you're even if you don't play if you play with wireless systems. It's a really good backup to have just a wired system, just in case something goes wrong. 50 quid is, not much money as far as in-ear monitoring is concerned. 50 quid is as cheap as you get. And if you're playing small clubs and pubs, you're not moving around much, could be worth looking at. Really, really good. For drummers and keyboard players, 100% it is the way ahead. It's the cheapest option I found. And obviously, the way it works is, plug it in. This is the cable I use because I have a little, I've got a little reel that's behind me, so it's always close to me and next plugged into the reel. And yeah, pretty much plug it in, left and right, and it tells you which one's left and which one's right. I've tie wrapped these two cables together, given the white for the left and red for the right. Red for right. That's a lesson to learn. If you're looking at a bit of kit with the stereo cables, if it's got red on it, that's right. Easy way to remember. Top thing. So that works really well. Now then, when it comes to putting something in your ears, you could use normal earbuds with this, or big headphones that cover your head. Great, nothing wrong with that. It's like the guy from I forgot the name of the band now. Christ, I hate that. I hate it when that happens. The guitarist for Linkin Park. That's it. Guitarist for Linkin Park used to wear the big headphones all the time. I wear in-ear headphones. These are my spare set. These are very, very. These are a good set that are affordable. I'll tell you why you want a good set that are affordable rather than just stick in a set that you can get from a shop anywhere. Earbuds are great, but when you sweat, you get hot, they start moving around. Moving around in your ears is a big problem because you get the sound you want in your ears balanced, and any slight movement, that sound changes totally. The thing about something like this is, and I'll show you this now, is when you look really closely at it, it's the shape of a ear, or English people, ear. And it shapes, so it fits in, and it fits in snug, and it doesn't move around no matter how sweaty you get. It's very, very important. That's something. I also, and you'll see them on my other set, I have a little clip that I stick on to put it on the back of my clothing, so there's nothing pulling down really to keep the weight. But yeah, these are really good. These are the Mackie MP120s. Not sure off the top of my head how much they retail for, but they are a really good set. They're good quality and won't break the bank. The ones I actually use are these Puretone ones. Now I've had these moulded. Now this is expensive. I'm not going to lie. There's no cheap way of doing this. Moulded ones, you've got to send them off. The way to do it is you go to the audiologist, a reputable one, and there's one here that works really well for me, and you basically get them. You can take a little mold of your ear. I ordered the ones through a company. We sort of chatted which one we wanted, and I ended up with the Puretone ones. He then sent off the molds to Puretone, and a few weeks later I got my set in. These, as you can see, these are really good, but these will cost you a good few hundred quid to do this. So this is something, if you're just getting into in-ear monitoring, don't go mad and buy an expensive set first. Wait to see what you're comfy with, see if you like it. I mean, if you're doing pubs and clubs, unless you're using click or you really want to play along to any sort of click, you may not need it. However, if you are, this is where you probably end up with Fischer on. But saying that, you've saved a lot of money here for a start. It's when you start going into the wired stuff, it does get really expensive for singers who, but they've only got to buy mine. Lucky singers. So this is the hard bit. But this is, these are really good. I swear by these. And like I said, I put that little clip on them. You can buy those off the internet really cheap. Just a little clip to go on the back of my shirt. Very, very comfortable. And what I have then is I've got an in-ear system that really does work, and it's a good introduction. I mean, even if you do start off with a cheaper set of earbuds and stuff, it's great. I started with one band using in-ear monitors, and my first ones wasn't a wired pack. I bought a cheap packet from a company that everyone knows, probably the one I'm thinking about. If you go on the internet, you tend to find the cheaper ones are there. And I'll be honest, it put me off because the sound is really bad. There's lots of interference. It's just tough. They do work, but they are annoying. And everyone I know who's used them has gone, oh, I don't like it. And perhaps, I'll only hold it in for the song with a click, and I'll have one out and things like that. That's not the way to do it. If you're going to use your new monitoring, don't take one out. That's not good for your ears for a start. And the benefit of, especially the Moulded set, is it does protect your ears. It gives you ear protection, and that's a good thing. So, so I wouldn't start with that. If you are interested in trying out a in-ear monitoring, you can spend 50 quid on this. If you've got a really good set of headphones, then, or possibly just invest in a decent. I mean, don't forget, you don't just have to use these for in-ear monitoring. You can use these for, listening to music, and trust me, you get really good sound, even just listening to them on MP3. It's really, really, really good. So, that's the way. Or if you can get a good set of overhead ones just to try it out, that's possibly a way ahead. I would recommend you do that. For a 50 quid outlay and a few quid on headphones, you can find out if something is good or not without having to go through a crackly noise from a very, very cheap wireless set that you might buy online, and see what it does for you. Very important. Before I finish this, and we'll get on to mixing in another video, but mixing in ears is very, very delicate. It's very different, and I'll just do a couple of tips before, and I'll get into it later, because the first tip is volume isn't good. You want to keep the volume down as low as you can in your in-ears. You want to keep it at a nice level where you only hear what you really need to hear. The second thing is, when you're mixing for in-ears, is you don't want a dry signal like you would through a wedge. In a wedge you tend to get just the dry signal back from the auxiliaries. You want effect on stuff that's going into your ears, because otherwise it's just too dry and it can sound muddy. Another reason not to turn it up loud is you get ear fatigue. If you've got it blasting, by a few songs in, it's going to turn to mush, and you really don't want that. You keep it at a nice level and just hear what you need to hear in it. And you will get stuff from outside. It doesn't block you off completely from the world. You'll still get roughly what's going on with the rest of the band. But it's important stuff. For me, because I sing and play drums at the same time, I tend to go with I've got click quite loud. Singers, the lead singer's the loudest because I sing backing vocals then. I get a little bit of myself backing because I can, just to confirm, I can hear my sort of voice inside my head. When you do that, la 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 la, but you always sound a bit different. So it just gives me enough confirmation. I tend to keep everything else quite low. The bass is up a little bit because there's a drummer, but you can feel that as well. And my own drums are quite quiet. Again, I have them, in there just to get good volume. But apart from that, it's personal preference, but just really having your ears whatever you need on the mixing. We'll get onto that later. We will do I'll do a video very soon on mixing in ears, and it should make a lot more sense. But as far as the basic equipment you'll need to just plug into an aux out from a desk into your ear, and you can start playing away straight away, then pretty much I think the Beringer P1 or the Fischer amps is the way ahead. Especially this, the Beringer's great. It is really good, and it's so cheap. It's a very, very cheap way to get into it. Probably cheaper than the cheap wireless sets that you get. It's that good, and you will get a lovely clear sound. That is the number one thing, because what you want, you do not want horrible sound in your ears. You want a nice, really good sound in your ears, and not just right. So, good luck. If you've got any questions, stick them in the comments. I will try to answer. I'll be keeping an eye on this, and I'll see you with a new video soon. I've got a busy week. week this week, so it might be a little while. And I've got a couple of big gigs coming up, but I'm going to definitely try and squeeze more of this in. And also, as we go, I'll improve with the, like credits and stuff. Who knows what's possible? It's good to find it out. So, good luck. Enjoy being noisy, and I'll see you all soon.